Hello and welcome or welcome back to Actually Let's Talk About It with me, your host Lily. And y'all, today we are continuing the reactions for DPR Ian music videos. So the first video that we're going to get into is the official Mito movie part 1. And I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it. I'm not sure if it's Mito or Mito, but I'm going with Mito. Just because I like the way that sounds. But I could be pronouncing it wrong. So let me know if I'm pronouncing it wrong in the comments. But there is a part 1 to the Mito movie, and then there's his newer music videos from this year. So the Peanut Butter and Tears music video and the So I Dance music video. And then I do also know he has another music video that will be premiering tonight. But I am not going to get into that one yet. That is going to be for a separate video because I want to get into the albums first. So we are going to get into this reaction, y'all. But I also do want to take the time to shout out the people who have been leaving comments, and I really do love y'all for leaving them. Shout out to Gianna. I cannot read the last portion of the but shout out to you because I saw you comment not just on part 1 of my reaction with DPR Ian music videos, but part 2 as well. And then also shout out to Ari as well, because y'all literally be telling me information that I did not know because I am still new to him as an artist. And then shout out to Clow 9370 as well, because your words are so wonderful as well, and I love how much information y'all give me. And shout out to Leopan 7361. Okay, thank y'all for the comments, and to Stars Kittles 1676, okay, who told me to get into the albums and that they were excited for the reaction to the Mito movie, okay, and his recent music videos. So this is what this video is for, so I love that. And then also to the user MI8XP4HV5N, who just said thank you so much sincerely. Oh, I love that. I love that. And you are very welcome. For real, for real. Because his music is just so really truly inspiring, especially to me, because I'm it's something that you need to see. Like I said in the part 1 and part 2, I want to try to not ramble, but I might this video as well. But it's just something about DPR Ian as an artist where you can feel how genuine he is, and it's really needed for people to be that genuine and to be, that honest with, just how they're processing and how they're coping. And I feel like he is one of those artists that are really going to have such a positive impact on people and give people visibility that they never thought that they would see, especially in an artist that they listen to. And I love that. And I said that in the last 2 music videos reaction as well, and I mean that, and I stand on that 10 toes down, and I will never let up on that, okay? It's important. It's for me as a Black woman, when I hear Black women speaking about how important mental health is and prioritizing that over pleasing others around you and making sure that you're not masking the fact that you just can't keep being a pillar for everybody else when you're not okay yourself, that that is things like that that's important to see and to realize that maybe we're just putting too much of a high expectation on ourselves and thinking that we need to fit this image of what society is saying is a normal person. And you're sometimes there's factors in our lives that prohibit us from fitting that mold, and the mold itself is flawed, and it's kind of rooted in ableism and other such things, and misogyny, and other such isms, that I don't want to get into because that would be a whole other discussion. And we can't fit in those molds because it's not us, and it's not an adequate representation of you either. And so I'm just loving that DPR Ian is that kind of artist to where he really makes you think critically, and he really makes you see that even if you are struggling with mental illness or anything else of the or that is always, even through the highest highs and the lowest lows, that you're not alone. And I really love that that's what he represents. But yeah, y'all, but try not to ramble too much, okay? So we're just going to get into the patron shout-outs, and then we're going to get straight into the reaction here. So the first patron shout-out does go out to Genoveva. The second patron shout-out does go out to Avery. The third patron shout-out does go out to Clover Me. The fourth patron shout-out does go out to Milky. The fifth patron shout-out does go out to Sammy. And then the sixth and final patron shout-out does go out to Leo. And I want to thank you all so much for your support on the Patreon. It really does mean the world to me. And yeah, y'all, without further ado, we're going to get into the official Mito movie, part 1. And I'm going to have to have the subtitles on just because I might not catch everything. And subtitles help me just catch what I missed. Okay, you know, I'm a subtitle girly now. And I must accept it.
Where did I go wrong with you?
Oh. Oh, the editors. Okay.
Out of all my creations, you are the epitome of all that is good, the utmost of my potential. You are my first,
and I'll make sure to be your last.
Oh, okay.
You created me in your image, and now it's time to create mine in yours.
Set my wings on fire. Set my wings on fire. Set my wings
The vocals on this man, y'all. I can't say that enough. Okay. Don't go insane. Oh, okay. Oh, Ian is in that word. Wow. The connections he just made. Profound, really. Profound. But I must point out that insanity might be the opposite of sanity, but sanity is based on perspective. And in this day and age, sanity and what is defined as sane is made up by people who have power in society. So being insane is the same as being unconventional, eccentric. In that regard, if you view it that way, sanity doesn't always mean that you are the sanest person in the room. It just means by the societal standards that are set up, you are considered sane. And we know how many times society gets it wrong. And that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna just leave that there. So when people say that certain people are insane, or because people have certain things going on with them mentally, that makes them any less sane than anybody else, I'm always thinking that sanity is, it's very much based off of who has the most power, who set the rules. And if the people who had the most power, who set the rules, were not the best people to begin with, then what really is sanity and what really is insanity? We may never know. Just something to think on a little bit. Just something to think on. That's it. Because I like to overanalyze things, as I have mentioned before. But yes, I'm going to continue.
Casually, one more down and I'm meant to be. Have I gone too far with this? Can you see me in the mist? One more, so casually. One more down and I'm meant to see. Have I lost my sense of bliss? Have you found me in the... Oh girl, what you wanna do for me? I got no girls, baby, I'm lost in the sea. One shot just to make it not stop. Oh girl, what you wanna do for me? I got two birds, baby, they're falling.
Is he saying that he got taken by himself? Because yeah.
along with the devil. Got me reaching for the air, baby, get the memo. Take away my only kryptonite. Mood swings in this sort of ocean. Steady, heavy, when I swing down. Baby, ready to take the world out. Tell me, are we really
The way he's really using imagery to describe this experience is something else.
Coming. He's dipping. He's going down. Please just shut up. Now's not the time. I have to take you. Now's not the time. I can't feel. He's out. You know what will happen if you take that now? I'm sorry. Everything will be okay.
Oh, wow, this man is so genius. Doom reverse is mood. Wow. He's a genius, and that's all I'm gonna say.
That I miss you when it's quiet. Oh, it's true. I want you to tell me if I'm lying. I just came back from the moon, from the lightning coming from your moon. Violence holding on to your knee. My moods are swinging for you. I just came back from the moon, found myself looking right at you. Violence playing into your tune. My moods are swinging for you. Color in my boots, no blues. Your silence on your horizon. Forgot my screws, my boots. My love brings all the light. Honey, don't assume that you knew that I miss you when it's quiet. I got you to tell me if I'm lying.
Okay, who is this?
That's weird.
Oh.
I don't hear the voices anymore. I'm bad.
What is the knife doing? Oh wow. That's some interesting symbolism for it. Okay.
I am tied to your thumb while our conversations out the door. I'm paralyzed to your eyes.
Okay, I knew he could dance. I didn't know he could dance like this though. Okay.
Strapped in a when it comes to you, you say to me, when she says to me, I'm way too deep, there's no way to see. Tell me why you're blushing, are we onto something, or is it just a way to keep up? She's trapped in a
Are we descending into nothing? Or is it just another reason for us to be awake?
Who is that? Is that the Mr. Insanity character? Okay. Because that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that is the Mr. Insanity character. questions. Oh, I have questions. Honestly, truly, I have questions. Okay, because like that music video did give us perspective of what it is like when basically like, and then that music video said a lot. It said a lot. And it wasn't a music video. The movie, part 1 of the Mito movie, said a lot. Like basically the fact that Mito is an extension of him, and then Mito created an extension of himself, and is that Mr. Insanity? I don't know at all. But I'm going with that because that makes sense to me. Because that would make sense, because if an extension of him is Mito, and then Mito wanted to create someone in his own image as well, but it's hard to create somebody in your own image when you are literally the image of someone else. And then that creates Mr. Insanity because he's an image of an image. Yeah, I'm going with that. That has to make sense. That actually makes sense, because an image of an image, it's like making a photocopy or a carbon copy of a carbon copy. There's not much there. So it has to like fill in the gaps itself and create its own version of itself because it doesn't truly know. Exactly. So that kind of makes sense in a way if this Mr. Insanity character is based off of Mito creating someone that's like himself, because Mito is just an extension of Ian. But if Mito created another personality or another character in his own image, then that would make the character basically a carbon copy of a carbon copy, an image of an image, and it would lose the originality and have to fill in the gaps with whatever it could find in the mind. Okay, so that makes sense why the character is called Mr. Insanity. It took me a while, but I am there. I get it here. Okay, but I love how DPR Ian, when he had insane, and then Ian is in insane. You can't spell insane without an I, A, and an N. Genius. And then how mood backwards is doom. Oh my gosh, that is so the English language. I swear every day I learn something else from someone, because I'm just like, it's so interesting that way. I'm like, yeah, and it's like the geniusness of Ian and the way that he breaks down his basically the moods, like how it started off like that's a mutual understanding between him and Mito, and then you get into the other portion of it where now there's this kind of like, I guess it was like representing a low point for him, and that's usually when you start hearing the voices. And I don't want to say that hearing voices is a negative thing. Sometimes it is, sometimes it is not. It just really depends. Like when people on TikTok were saying like, oh, they were getting intrusive and impulsive confused because those two words do mean very, very different things. Intrusive thoughts, you know, those are different than impulsive thoughts. And that was like one of the things where people were saying, oh, intrusive, you know, impulsive and intrusive, those are very, 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 very different things. And impulsive thoughts are more associated with actual disorders, and they're not always bad, but they can sometimes be unpleasant. And then intrusive thoughts, you know, and impulsive thoughts don't always have to be associated with the disorder, but they sometimes can be. But they're just like things that you would just do, or something that you would say that you would not normally say. It's just like your unfiltered thought is an impulsive thought. But this intrusive thought is something that is very upsetting and graphic, like something that could scare you on any basis. And that's what intrusive versus impulsive really is. But I like how he broke it down, how for a while medication, especially if you're taking bipolar medication, because I do know a few people who do, and you really, like I said before in other videos, you really have to be careful about these things that doctors will prescribe to you, because sometimes they will give you things that make things worse. And yeah, like the fact that antidepressants, many that they try to push to people, the symptoms of taking the antidepressants is depression. So I'm just like, and you want people to take these? And the symptoms, one of them is literally suicidal thoughts. And I'm just like, and you want people to take these, and they're supposed to treat something, but yet they can also make it worse. I'm trying to understand the big pharma. I really am. I'm trying to understand it. But as a American person, and an African American person at that, I really do not like the institution of medication for certain things when the medication literally makes it worse. So I'm just like, who thought of that? Who thought of that? And then it's mad expensive, and I'm paying you to help me, and then the symptoms of the medicine that you are giving me is basically what I am struggling with. I'm just, why couldn't it be that you can't drive or operate heavy machinery? That is a symptom or a side effect that I would gladly take over it increasing your depression or increasing the risk of suicidal thoughts. I'm just like, then what is the point? I might as well not be on them. If I was like thinking of taking antidepressants, because I'm like, why would I be doing it if it's just going to cause extra problems? And so like what he showed of him taking the pills, and then it only kind of worked, but it worked then where you didn't hear the voices, and then like just things kind of escalated from there. And I'm like, and then sometimes for people who are taking basically medication for other disorders, they don't work on other disorders that you also have. So if I'm taking something for bipolar disorder and you happen to have DID as well, it's not going to work for DID because there is no medication for it. And so that's really crazy. That's really something to know about as well. I'm like, and yeah, and like I said, I do not know why I got so obsessed with DID when I was younger, and that's the only reason why, like, if it wasn't for that obsession that I had, especially in middle school and high school, with it and the psychology of it, I wouldn't have been able to pick up the note, like basically the crumbs that DPR Ian was putting in his lyrics of hinting at the fact that he had it. And I was like, and that's how I knew. That is the only way that I knew. But the Mito movie put a lot into perspective and showed a lot about having bipolar disorder mixed with DID and how it translates, because it really is unpredictable. Even with all the knowledge that we have about bipolar disorder, there's still variants of it, and we still don't know everything. And it's a day-by-day thing. There's no one way to fix something, because this is in the mind. And the mind is so vastly unknown. I mean, it's the fact that, like, scientists have said that we I'm not sure if we use 10 to 15% of our actual brain power. So there's like 85 to 90% of our mind that scientists do not know anything about. And I'm just like, yeah. So when people have mental illness, then that could be a part of that 85 to 90% that is completely unknown and unexplored. Because the way that our mind can try to shield us from things, and that's what I think really, for me, that's what I think is my opinion. It's not like a fact, but I think that for DID, it is basically your mind shielding you from certain events that you might not yet be prepared to remember. And regardless of how insignificant or extreme they could actually be, it would just vary from person to person. Because something that is serious to me may not be serious to you that's watching. Something that is insignificant to me may be serious to somebody that's watching. And we just don't know how your mind is ready to process things. So if your mind assumes that you're not ready to process something, it'll create a shield for you to where it'll block it out. But then there could be times when, in blocking out this thing, your mind has created a personality to help aid that, like to guard that door, so that you will never have it opened until you are actually ready to face that memory. And that's how I think it goes. So I'm like that's why there were all those boxes in the beginning of the Mito movie that had different labels on them. And then there was those doors that were like the doors in your mind that he was showing that are not opened, and that he probably can't open even if he wanted to, because the mind will only allow you to face things that you're ready to face. And I'm like, and it's crazy how our body can protect us from things that we didn't even know we needed protection from subconsciously without us knowing it. And that's my opinion on it. Okay. But I think I have rambled way too long and have said a lot of theories and a lot of other ramblings. So I am going to get to the next music video, which is Peanut Butter and Tears. And this video actually came out a few months ago. 2 months ago. Really? Oh, 2 months ago in August, in my sister's birthday month. Okay. So that is cool. So Peanut Butter and Tears. Okay. The official music video. And we're going to get into that and just see what it's going to do here.
One to the left, one to the right,
Mm-hmm.
and one in the middle.
Oh. I would go into the one in the middle too because it's pretty. Oh, it's baby him?
Actually, something felt different. And
Oh,
a lot
wow.
more terrifying.
Ooh.
Tearing up my eyes. No, friends tell me I look so dead. I think they're seeing through my disguise. They know, they know where I get so friendly with strangers.
Oh, okay.
I get so lost in my colors. And my tooth's been wiggling for you.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay, like that. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Like, there was a lot to unpack there as well. So Mr. Insanity is in the room. Okay, and he said my tooth has been wiggling for years. And that's like the line that's sticking out to me out of all the lines that he said in Peanut Butter and Tears. The tooth has been wiggling for years. And then like when he said that he can't face all of his fears, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, because I'm a firm believer that the events of basically your childhood can shape you even when they're not bad. Like, even when nothing bad happened in your childhood that people can, like, that society and the average person in the society would deem as, like, crazy. It's just how you as a child saw those events. Like, the dentist chair. For a lot of children, that is a very scary place, which I know why he used it. Because that is a place that brings to the average child, it can make them very afraid because the machines, they're strangers, touch it in your mouth. Even with gloves, like, it's still weird. And you got they got their mask on, and then they got that suction thing, and it's going in your mouth, and you got all this noise, and then even doing a dental cleaning. Like, it's just a lot of stimuli going on there. And it can be overwhelming. It's like a sensory overload for a child, and it's scary. And their first reaction to any type of overstimulus is to cry, to express their frustration and their anxiety, because that's what it's bringing. And I'm like, and it's interesting how he used that, and like a young actor who represents him, obviously, and put him in the dentist chair, and then towards the end you see him actually come up from it, but he's already Mr. Insanity. And I'm like, and it's interesting as well where he said he makes friends with strangers. So that's leading me to believe that I do know when some people have DID, that when they go into, when the other personality takes over and they basically go, they don't go anywhere, technically, you're not going anywhere. It's just that you lose consciousness of what your body is doing when you have DID and the other personality takes over. So you are not aware of what that other personality is doing with your body and saying with your mouth and saying with your eyes. You only know once you come to, however long you were out, whether it be a week, 2, 3, 4 months or years. So yeah, that is one of the time frames between, for people who have DID, they could be out of it for a few minutes, a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, a few months, or a few years. And there have been very rare cases where people will be their other personality, or the other personality will take over for that long, for years. But there have been some cases where that has happened. And in that time, the person who is, the actual the prominent personality, actual person, doesn't know what happened. They can only try to piece together what happened for however long they've been out of commission. Once they come back to, once that other personality relinquishes control. And that is the interesting part about that. So when like I'm seeing Mr. Insanity out here being like happy that he's out and free and can do what he wants and can say what he wants, can interact how he wants, that's what it's giving. It's giving like the euphoria of finally having control that you did not have before, and getting to enjoy himself as he wants to, because now he's in control. And so that is what I got from Peanut Butter and Tears. I don't know if anybody else got that, but that's what I got. It's like when the other personality takes over and they are happy and just talking to everybody, doing a lot of things and enjoying, because they know that the time is limited, that they will have control, but they're going to enjoy it while it lasts. So that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting from Peanut Butter and Tears. That is definitely giving Mr. Insanity. It's not even giving Mito, because Mito is different. But Mr. Insanity is definitely, it's giving him. He is here. Okay, and I wonder if he is going to be the main character in So I Dance as well. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see, okay? We're just gonna see how that works.
This is the latest dispatch just received in our newsroom. It seems to be a sudden general explosion of mass homicide. No further details available at this time.
Okay. So it is definitely giving that Mr. Insanity is still in control here. Okay.
Your sweet face is turning cold as the fires begin to draw a little closer. I left all the water on They drove around with a car that we stole. All of a sudden they just wanted to know how I really feel. So I just danced.
Okay. Oh, Mito. Oh. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Hello, your beautiful roses of flash flamingos are turning into giant pink rats. Let me know how many nights I have my back. Don't get cold. Your world is just
Like, I love his vibe. His outfits and the makeup that they choose. Genius. Okay.
All of a sudden they just wanted to know how I really feel. So I just
Subscribe. I'm done with it for that. But obviously they should be subscribing. Nah. Not him having the energy to do that. Who is this person in green though? Interesting.
With lack of struggles, it's like a regular story. God, this shit sucks.
Okay, that beat change. Come on now. That was smooth. It was a transition. I'm done. That was good. That was actually phenomenal. Like the way that the lore here. So there's obvious beef between Mito and Mr. Insanity, who is supposed to be an extension of Mito, which is why they can't destroy each other. Which makes sense. A copy of a copy can't destroy the copy that copied it in the first place. Unlike an image of an image cannot destroy the image that it came from. It just can't do that. So the fact that Mr. Insanity was trying to basically take something from Mito that would give him, I guess, more power as like make him more of a concrete personality than he is is very an interesting metaphor there. That's an interesting visualization of things. I really like what he did here. I feel like DPR Ian is, as we say, in his bag. He is in his element, and he is really showing off his artistry. Mito is very unique and very important to his story, and you kind of see that here. While Mr. Insanity is very much a character, Mito, you feel that he is concrete, that he is real. And I think that that's what I picked up on earlier, since the first music video I watched was so beautiful. I picked up that Mito is very much real, and he has a relevance to DPR Ian. And it's a relevance that you don't see with the character of Mr. Insanity. That is just a fun character to act as. But with Mito, it is rooted in truth, it is rooted in realness, and that's why you can differentiate what is fact and what is fiction. And because Mr. Insanity is very much fiction, he is just a fun play character. But for Mito, he is real. And I like how he shows the difference of the way that he approaches the personality that is actually real to him in his life and the one that is made up. You see the difference, and it's very distinct and it's very obvious. But then I also like how in this lore of the music videos, Mr. Insanity is a personality that is an extension of Mito, and Mito is like not trying to get rid of him, but not trying to let him have more power than he does. But then you see the power that Mito possesses, to where he really does control a lot of things in the world, and the world is in the mind. In the mind of our dude, Mito has a lot of influence. That is why you see whenever he is there, he can levitate himself off the ground. He can do all these different things because it's all done within a world within the mind. And it is something so very interesting to really see. And, you know, I'm not sure how long Mito might have, how long he's known about him as a personality, but it is very interesting to see the way that he portrays Mito. There is a connection that he has. There is a, that's the only way I can describe it. There's a connection and there's a care around Mito as a personality. There is a care there, and there is a connection there, and it's not like an animosity or any type of anger or resentment. It's very much a, this is how it is, this is what it is, and I'm going to show that. And it's really very real and very, very unique in the way that he approaches his interpretation of Mito. And then I did also, because I've been doing my research a little bit, not too much on DPR Ian, not too much. I've been doing it slightly. I did follow him on Instagram, and not on my actual, the one for this channel, my actual personal Instagram, which is different. You know, keeping things separate. But on my personal Instagram, I did follow him, but Instagram's feed is really weird, so I don't really see a lot of people's posts that I should be seeing. Even the people that I follow, I just don't see them. So I'm but on TikTok, I think I've reached to the side of DPR Ian TikTok, where they just have his shows and his concert performances, and I really would love to see this man live. That is all I'm going to say, because I am for sure a fan, and I can't wait to get into his albums. So y'all, I will be getting into them very, very, very soon. And I do apologize if this video was long. I tried to make it short, not to ramble too much, but I think I still managed to do that. So it is what it is. I mean, I'm it's what I do. I like to overanalyze things and just think of things from my own perspective, because it's really, 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 that's how I connect with things. It's just, you use empathy, and then you use your understanding, and then you intersectional thinking, because you kind of have to, especially when things like, though, especially the way, like I said before, the way that mental health is not always the easiest conversation to have with older people and even your parents. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to admit to certain things, and I do not know why. Like, it's very hard sometimes for me as a Black woman to discuss certain things with my mom, especially about mental health, just because you never want your parents to feel like they kind of didn't do their job with you, even when they did, because mental health is a thing. Even if you had a perfect childhood, you still can be going through things mentally. It's not an indication that anything bad happened to you. It just is what it is. And I'm like, but those kind of conversations can be very hard with the older generation, especially when you counter in religion and tradition and things like that. So it's harder to express it in a way to where your parents don't feel bad. And I think it's better, me and my sister, the way that we're able to communicate with my mom 10 years ago when we were minors. It would have been a lot harder, and that is a shift. And I think that it's very important to just remember those kind of things when you're looking at things like this, because I do recognize that he is a Korean man, and I'm and I already know how just the experiences of my friends with their parents who are also Korean or Asian, they're under the Asian umbrella, and just how that they've had to maneuver those conversations to make sure that you understand what I'm saying as an adult or as a minor who's going through something, and that you don't feel like you've let me down in some way, because it doesn't have anything to do with the way that you raised me. It's just there are things that I'm going through internally, mentally, that don't have an explanation, but there is a word there. It is symptoms of something that is bigger than this. Okay, it's just those kind of conversations, and they're not the easiest to have. And the way that he glides through those topics and puts such a sense of care and yet urgency in his lyrics as well, into where it makes you feel like you're not isolated, but that there is a community of people going through the same thing, and all just trying to figure out better, the best ways to cope, because it's different for everybody. And I'm yeah, I really respect it. And I'm just ooh, because I'm everything is great now, but I'm I remember younger me could have really used an artist like DPR Ian, because mental health was not really talked about. And for some reason, I'm not sure what it was, but I think looking back on the times, because I was really just thinking about when I was younger, there was just a lot of depressing thoughts that I would just have. And I'm just and I was thinking about that even as I was watching those, watching his music videos especially, which is why, sometimes you gotta pace yourself with certain things, because I remember even for there's an artist who is a member of BTS, and he goes by Suga in BTS, but his stage name when he's solo is Agus D, and he had a song called Amygdala, or Amygdala as he pronounced it in his song. And that music video I could only watch once, and I did a reaction to it, and I could only watch it once just because it was hitting so close to home for me. And I'm it was just bar for bar things that I was going through in high school, and there was no explanation for the thoughts that I was having, but they were there, and they were rampant at that time. And it was then they just came out from 15 to 17. Those were those were some hard years, and I'm I'm not gonna lie, but I'm and that was just kind of the turning point for me once I hit 17, because I was I had friends who I could talk to at the time, but it's just something that I never let my mom know. And I did not let her know that about that time in my life until I was like damn near 10 years later, like last year when I was 26. And I'm like, because I'm 27 now. I was born in 1996, y'all. So I'm a little bit older. And I'm just like, and yeah, like that, she was a surprise to hear it. But, you know, like that's why but she was always the type of parent who always checked in. And I think that that is necessary to like have a community. And even if it's not your own parents, to have your friends. But she was always a parent that checked in. So I didn't really have time to dwell in certain thoughts, like the worst times for me. And because 15 and 17 were great years for me, but mentally when I was alone, which was very rare, those few hours just felt like they were longer than a few hours when I was by myself. Because it was always just my mom and my sister and me. And we were always together. We still are. You know, even though I'm older, like we're still almost always interacting on a day-to-day. So I'm like, those years though, the mental health was not the best. But she saw that, and even though I didn't tell her about it, and she didn't press on it too much, she knew. And so she always made sure that she was around. And I think that like having these kind of conversations like DPR Ian is starting is so important, especially for Black people to have, because yeah, that is important, and it's important for Indigenous people to have as well, and other people of color, which also includes Asian people, because we need these conversations. Because there's not, sometimes, especially in Western countries like Canada, America, and then even certain parts of Latin America, where there's just not enough. And Oceania, okay, I didn't forget about y'all, okay, and Europe, there's just not enough research into what it looks like in people that are not European. And that can make it harder to diagnose, and it can take so long, and it can have a big impact for somebody to take longer than they need to be diagnosed, or for you not to believe them, you know. And so there is that. And so like I just really appreciate what he does as an artist, and I am going to stop rambling. But I thought I would share a little bit as to why I like to analyze it, and why, you know, his music kind of speaks to me in that way. Because as far as I know, I'm like, as far as I know, I don't believe I have any mental illnesses, but I do have friends and some family members who do. And I've seen the way that it affects how they navigate the world. And a lot of my friends are BIPOC people, so they're either Black, Indigenous, or other people of color. And my family is predominantly Black. Like I do have some European family members, but they're predominantly Black. And the way that it looks in us for certain things like bipolar disorder and OCD, you know, things like that, the way that it looks is very different, because we're taught to blend and to mask into basically the same way that I can project, like if I'm talking to someone, I can project basically the same personality traits that they're excluding to me back at them. So it'll deflect from anything that may be considered not necessarily in the mold of normal to that person, so they don't feel uncomfortable. And that's what the average person who is a BIPOC person does. And that's why it takes so long for therapists who are not used to people that are Black or Indigenous or other people of color to diagnose things properly, especially in the States. And so I am glad that there is the representation that you need. So, you know, like, okay, maybe because I'm having these kind of things and I'm going through this, maybe I need to go to a psychologist and just talk to them about certain things and see what diagnosis they give me. And so that's what DPR Ian is doing. Like, he's doing it for people that not just only look like him, but people that don't, and that see him as someone that they can trust and someone that they see themselves in. And I love that. And I'm always going to love that. And I'm always going to support this man. I'm like, for real. I love what he does, and I love what he represents, and I love what he's meaning to people, especially people who are going through it, who are you know, wearing their mental illness and not shying away from what they're going through and just taking it day by day, what he means to them, and, you know, what he means to people who may not have any mental illness, but, you know, we've been in places where you was at your lowest low, and we understand where that can take you and how strong you have to be to even ask for help in those situations, and how even stronger you have to be to pick yourself back up. And so I'm like, there's that. But yeah, I don't know how much is gonna make it to the final YouTube cut, but I'm hoping all of it. So if y'all do not want to hear the ramblings, I do suggest just skipping through. I'll have them time marked and time stamped, but on Patreon, y'all will see everything. So if you have made it until the end of the video, I want to thank you so much for watching. And if you're watching this video on YouTube and you are a subscriber on the channel, thank you so much for being a subscriber. And if you're watching this video on YouTube and you have yet to subscribe to the channel, do not forget to do so if you would like to support the channel further. And if you're watching this on Patreon, once again, thank you so much for being a patron. Your support is so very much appreciated, and I will be back with more videos relatively soon. And until then, y'all, I will see you on the next video. Bye.